Think about labels that get thrown on women that have been weaponized against me. I'm overly sensitive, I'm overly dramatic, I'm overly sentimental. Those things are used to criticize me. Whereas at the Eras Tour, they are celebrated.
Hello and welcome. We are back from our holiday break. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, we're not back from our holiday break. We're all holiday dressed.
Yeah, like literally, it's the holidays. Hello and welcome. We are back from our hiatus. My name is Lauren.
I'm Cassie.
And we're doing a rebrand. We are no longer Confessionals and Congressionals. This is officially Overanalyzing Everything.
Yeah, very fitting. Very
Yes.
fitting.
You and I have been talking a lot lately about what we wanted this podcast to be. It's, the politics thing dropped off a long time ago, so the name didn't really make sense anymore. And we want this to be a pop culture podcast, and also because I have a master's degree in psychology and marriage and family therapy, I like to psychoanalyze the things that are happening on reality TV and pop culture and culture in general. And so we thought we would just rebrand this as a pop culture podcast with a little bit of psychoanalysis, a little bit of psychology, and these are all my opinions. I don't know anybody in real life that is a celebrity, so take everything with a grain of salt, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, we had focused on some rewatches, and we didn't like being pigeonholed, especially once we hated watching the challenge. We had to just revamp it all.
Yes. However, Olivia did win, who I was rooting for, and she won pregnant, and we love that for her.
Yeah, I did. I actually saw that as well. I saw that she won. I was like, oh, I guess we should mention who won on the show that we were recapping. Just didn't hold our attention.
No, it didn't hit the same. And you know what has been holding my attention though is the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. You and I watched the first couple episodes over Thanksgiving, and I've binged all the seasons now.
Oh my gosh. And we watched them together, like in the same room.
Yes.
Right?
On that couch.
Because you
on
got
set.
to come to visit. Yes. Yes. It was incredible. I have not binged it. I actually just randomly started deep diving the girl that was on Dancing with the Stars from Mormon Wives. Is it Whitney? What's her name?
Mm-hmm.
Whitney? Okay. I started just randomly deep diving that. So I listened to her on the Call Her Daddy podcast, and I need to finish the seasons instead of these random deep dives that I do.
Yeah, because it's evolved a lot. And one thing I didn't realize, the Whitney's evolution as a character has evolved a lot. She kind of came on I think it was the second season, was basically like, I'm just here because it's going to give me more opportunities. I don't like you people. And they didn't take that very well. But I think it's the show is so funny because it's very meta, because they're talking about being on TV. They're talking about being influencers. And so it's meta in that way. It's so 2025, But one thing I learned was that the seasons are essentially filmed back to back. It's not like Vanderpump where they film every summer. They film them and then they start filming the next one. So when we're watching the season, I think they filmed the pilot and then some time passed. That's why she was suddenly pregnant. But after that, I think they filmed them pretty close together. So the timeline in which we're seeing it all isn't that long ago. It's not like it was 3 years ago. It was just last year, I think, or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then it's doing a better job than, when we watch Sister Wives, it's tough because when we're watching that, we're like, well, I follow her on Instagram and I know that was 3 years ago. It's very hard. It does not keep up at all.
Yeah, I know. And it's I think because they're influencers, it almost has to be more in real time for you to be able to stay engaged, because a lot of drama happens on social media that you find out about and then you see in the show 3 years later. That's not going to make any sense. Yeah. Which is what happened with the Vanderpump Villa drama, because Vanderpump Villa was filmed before I think Mormon Wives ever even came out. So they weren't really famous yet. maybe the first season had come out, but it wasn't like the phenomenon it's become. And so they filmed Vanderpump Villa, and they were guests on that show, and that's when the Marciano drama happened. Do you know about this?
I do not.
Oh, so Demi from the show has accused Marciano of SA,
Oh.
and Jesse from the same show, they were all visiting together doing Vanderpump Villa. I'm pretty sure the season that Stassi did it. I think it was the same summer
Okay.
that she was there. And so they were there then, and Jesse started having an affair with Marciano. So we have Jesse, who is married, having an affair with Marciano. That comes out on the show. And then you have Demi saying he SA'd me. But we like watch Demi through the seasons, and it's like she's not a reliable narrator. And so people are really like, and he's like denying it, really denying it. He's like, I might be a lot of things, but I did not assault her.
Well,
And
yeah. I mean, what else? I would hope he's denying it.
yeah,
Anything else, you know?
well, yeah, if you were like silent, that would be one thing.
Hold on,
Oh,
Mark.
yeah.
I'm trying to delete my last name,
Oh, we can
and
fix it in
it's not
post.
working.
I think we can fix it in post, Cass.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Then I'm not going to worry about it. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah.
Denied it.
Yeah, so he denied it, and he's gone on lots of like he's gone on social media and like vehemently denied it. At the same time, she is doubling down, tripling down. Jesse at the same time is being like, yeah, we had an affair. She admitted everything on the show. Like she admitted everything. They did a lie detector test, which those aren't really accurate, but whatever. Marciano was on it telling his side of the story. And basically he said like, Demi told me to lie about like you and me, about Jesse and me. Like she told me to start talking about like start saying that we had sex to basically like get the heat off of her. And up until like she accuses him of SA that summer that they were in Vanderpump Villa, but then months and months and months after that, they have a very chummy relationship over social media, or not social media, over text. Like she's like, you should come visit. We should do ketamine therapy together. Here's a picture of my daughter praying. And so people are like, I don't get it. Like if he SA'd you, then why are you so chummy with him? And she was like, I was fawning. Like I was just trying to make it not awkward, all of this kind of stuff. And people are like, I just don't know if I'm buying this.
Well, I mean, it's also, that's a huge accusation. It's a crime. It's like that is career ending. That is, I don't know. Like, I think if it's hard because I want to believe women, but if you lied about that, then I don't want to see you on my TV at all ever.
Yeah. And I think the thing that makes me think, okay, she's not a reliable narrator is there was an episode where we watched an interaction with her and this guy, Chase. Just wait until you meet Chase. He's Jax
Oh God.
of Mormon Wives, but he's not on it that much, but he's such a douche. And he's so coked out. And he like walks by her and taps her hip. It's on film. You watch it happen. And she calls her husband down, Brett, the big like muscly guy, and is like, he shoved me, get him, kind of a thing. And she like doubled and tripled down on that he shoved her. But like we saw, and it wasn't really a shove. Like it wasn't, he was being rude, but he wasn't being aggressive.
Okay.
And so seeing that and then watching her like tell this narrative that she got shoved, and we're like, okay, well, that didn't happen. So now it makes me doubt whether you're going to be a reliable narrator about anything or whether you victimize yourself and try to like make somebody else seem like the bad guy.
Is it a situation where she might believe the lies she's telling herself?
I don't know, but I don't think so because the girls keep pushing her on it, and she's like, okay, fine, it wasn't really a shove. It was, like I know she'll be like, I never said shove, and it's like literally a minute ago you said shove.
Oh wow.
So she kind of like flip flops back and forth, and she's a little bit in survival mode and on her back foot because the girls are starting to see through what's going on. And Jesse was like, we were best friends, blah, blah, blah. But you did this thing to me. You told him to lie about us. I don't trust you anymore. I don't want to be your friend anymore. And so Jesse went on social media and was like, Demi's an awful person. Like, she's a bad person. She lies. She manipulates. She does what she has to do. And so now Marciano is suing Demi for defamation.
And which season did all of this go down? Has this all of this aired, or
Some of it has aired, I think, on season 3, and then some of it has happened after the season ended, I think.
Okay.
Because season
Okay.
3 is like still coming. I think they just had the reunion. So like it has been coming out over the last month or two.
Okay. And I do know that they are currently filming season 4. So you're right. Like the cameras don't stop, because I did, hear some of them talking about that on various podcasts.
Yeah. So anyway, that's like some of the drama. I've been so into it. And it reminds me too of, and we'll get more, we're going to talk about Blake Lively a little bit today, but it reminds me of the Blake Lively thing where, you want to believe her that
Yeah.
what happened on set happened and she took it that way and all of that kind of stuff. But then when you see the footage, you're like, okay, well, in context, that's not really what happened. And so now it makes me think that you're not a reliable narrator. And I don't know if I can believe the other things that you're saying happened if that didn't happen and or it didn't happen the way you're saying it happened. And so it's kind of a similar situation, I think.
Yeah, I think it's tough because as women, I think so many of us have the experience of not being believed. And
Yeah.
so it makes us really want to make sure that we are listening to what a woman says and believing her, because we so wish that we would have been believed, or that people we love would have been believed, and it sucks when someone takes advantage of that,
Yes.
and puts you in a position where you have to be like, okay, well, not everybody's telling the truth.
I think that's it too. It's like not everybody's telling the truth. We need to believe women in terms of like, yeah, the pendulum can't just swing to the other way where like everybody tells the truth all the time if they're talking about this kind of thing or when they're accusing somebody of something because maybe they have other things to gain. But it's like all the Epstein stuff that's been coming out and the fact that like all of that was covered up for so long and is still being covered up today because people don't believe women. So it's extremely problematic for
Yeah.
sure. And very frustrating that anybody does that for anything other than to get the truth out there. It's, yeah. And I think that's why I've been so interested in this Blake Lively thing because, like, trust me, I want to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong. I want some sort of evidence to come out that says, like, that, like, proves her point or proves her case. But so far, she just seems like a fucking asshole.
I know. I know.
And our girl Taylor was best friends with her, but not anymore, it doesn't seem like.
It doesn't seem like. I mean, I still have a lot of theories about that. I do believe that the song Canceled was written with Blake Lively in mind.
Yeah.
I think it was written before, everything came out. And I think her choosing to still release the song and put the song on the album, I don't think it's necessarily an olive branch to Blake, but I do think it's a way of her saying, like, I don't hate her.
Mm.
I don't, that's the vibe I get.
I kind of thought of it as more of like, I'm going to put it on the album because I know people will talk about it and speculate about it and it'll get attention for my album.
Well, I'm sure that thought goes into every single song that's on the album, right? Like, but if she didn't want to be part of the Blake Lively narrative at all, she wouldn't have released it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because it is she makes a lot of like pretty pointed references to the It
Yes.
Ends With Us thing. And we were talking the other day about how like you have been so resistant to believing that Blake Lively could just be a mean person or a malicious person and you had like a theory about that suddenly.
Yeah, I think it is because, like, I love Taylor Swift so much, and I don't want to believe that she would be friends with someone that is, because it's kind of like that, you are who your friends are even if you're not, right? And so I don't want to believe that she would be such good friends with someone that's that bad.
Yeah.
That's very hard for me to believe.
Yeah.
But right now there's not, I still struggle, even though I know that some of it comes from my defensiveness towards Taylor. I still struggle to believe that Blake Lively did all this for what? Like, I can't find a motive that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we should get into this on another day because we don't want to spend the whole time talking about Blake Lively. But I think that she had multiple motives. One, I think, was just feeling rejected and frustrated that she wasn't getting what she wanted. I think the other contributing factor was Ryan Reynolds being a psycho,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that she like got in over her head and like she wanted a lot of creative influence over the movie. She got what she wanted, and I think Taylor was like pushing her to like be to believe in herself. I think that like Taylor wants women to rise up. Men have screwed her over and over and over again. And my theory is that I think maybe like they didn't know each other as well as we think they knew each other. I think Blake was using her. Um, and which is the unfortunate thing of being that famous and powerful is like some people are going to be pretty good at using you to get what they want, which is more fame or power or whatever. It's not like Taylor named her cats after Blake Lively's kids or something. Like I think Blake was very much like, you're gonna be the godmother of my kids. You're gonna mean this to me, and me being adjacent to you is gonna give me what I want. Maybe not
Well,
consciously.
remember, Taylor did put Blake Lively's children's names
Mm-hmm.
into
And the
her
folklore.
music, right? Like, so there has been some, and she might have done that because it is like, what a compliment to make me the
Mm-hmm.
godmother of your kids,
Yeah. And at
right?
this point,
Like,
I'm still believing that you're a good person. And maybe I'm
yeah,
believing that, like there's a lot of rumors in Hollywood about people, and not all of them are true. And a lot of them about women are just because women are standing up for themselves, being like, not aggressive, but assertive. And people don't like
right,
that. And so they get called bitches and
right,
they get called divas. And really, they're just acting like men, or acting a little more like men.
right. And people can be more than one thing. So there could have been a point in time where Blake Lively didn't have a lot of confidence and didn't assert herself. Like, there could have been,
Yeah,
that
I think
could
so.
still be true. And, Taylor could have seen that and
Yeah.
told her, I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to take
Yeah.
risks. I want you to, so that
I
could
want
still
you to
be
direct my
true.
music video. I want to pull you in. I want to give you opportunities because that's what I do for women that I believe in.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that the day at the penthouse when Taylor was allegedly there and Ryan Reynolds berated Justin Baldoni for 5 to 6 hours, according to the depositions, I think that day she saw something that she hadn't seen before. And maybe Ryan, maybe Blake, maybe both of them, maybe the whole thing. And she was like, I don't want to be part of this. You guys are not the people I thought you were.
Yeah.
That's
I
my
agree.
theory.
I agree. I agree. And I think there was, we'll get into the Lively stuff another day, but I think there was something with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni in the beginning that Ryan Reynolds, like,
Yeah.
they seem like they had a friendship. It seems like there was a little bit of sexual tension or chemistry. And I think Ryan Reynolds was insecure about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what started a lot of
He
this.
starts showing up on set. He starts being like, what are they saying? What are they doing? That's weird. Don't let them come in your trailer. Don't let them talk to you. Don't let them say those things.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so should we get into the doco?
Yes, I'm so excited.
All right, Cass, let's get into it.
All right.
Bum, bum, bum. So, Cass, today we're talking about the Taylor Swift documentary, part 1 and 2, The 6-part series is being released on Disney Plus. Disney Plus.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
first 2 episodes came out yesterday. You and I watched them, separately because we don't live in the same place. How many times have you watched them in total?
I think I'm on 5. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm on my 5th watch. That's why we're all like, I see you've got your Chiefs outfit on.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I have my Taylor Swift hoodie. I have to say, I am not someone who generally buys merch. Um, and, obviously things are expensive on Taylor Swift's website.
Yeah.
But she had some sales the last few weeks. And I have to say, the quality is worth it.
Oh, is
This is
it?
probably the softest hoodie I own, and my sweatpants are from it. They have the lyrics "I love you, it's ruining my life" all over them,
Oh, I love
but
that.
they're super super soft. The pockets, I don't know, as a woman, when you get sweatpants, I feel like the pockets a lot of the times are too far on the side. They like bulk out, or these are perfect. I have to say, I'm very very impressed with the quality. It was worth it.
Amazing. We should link them
Yeah.
down below. We'll try to remember to link them. Yeah, this Chiefs sweater came from my mother. Hi, Mom. I wonder if she's listening. One of the things that she's bought me that I love and also really good quality. I think it's like NFL branded.
Awesome. And we have been waiting for this documentary for so long. The fans we've all known it was coming. We've all been saying it, and I think felt like we were going crazy at a certain point because it's
Yeah.
like, is this ever going to happen?
Because we
So a
kept
couple
thinking, like, okay, she's going to announce it. We thought maybe she would announce it when she dropped her recent album at that, like, movie that she did. We thought she would. This is me. I thought. I'm not part of the, like, Swifty Easter egg culture, really, but I thought for sure she would have announced it by now.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And there was a couple things today, December 13th, is Taylor Swift's birthday. Um, yeah,
Love that.
today is her birthday. So another thing that happened yesterday is that the lyrics to 2 of her songs on Reputation changed.
How do you know?
And but because it's been all over the news, but
Like,
and
changed
it
in what
just
way? Like, the
on
recorded.
the streaming platforms.
Okay.
On the streaming platforms, like, it's the 2 lyrics from 2 songs have changed on the Reputation. So it's like, are we getting Reputation? Like, what is we don't have any
Stop
idea.
doing this to us.
I know. But there's that lyric from Reputation, right? The there will be no explanation. There will just be reputation. And so
Yeah.
it's like, is this how she's going to do this? Is she just going to drop like the Reputation Taylor's version without any announcement, without any, it's just going to be here? Like, what, we don't know. We have no idea. We just know that we suddenly have 2 songs that just one line from each has been changed, which, how insane is it that Swifties noticed that?
It actually is insane. I'm not surprised at all, but it is insane. Um, and in the documentary, she talks about how she likes to over deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, she'll say that you're getting one thing and then she'll over deliver on that thing. And so I wonder if maybe that's part of the over delivery. Not that I want to get my hopes up, because I've been waiting for rep TV. And I kind of thought, like, I think we all thought, oh, okay, when she got her master's back, we're not getting rep. She did it how she wanted to do it the first time. She doesn't want to redo it, whatever. Because she was talking about in the documentary how, like, the albums she started re-recording first were the ones she thought she could have done better the second time around. And she didn't say this, but I also wonder, like, maybe the ones that she had lots of vaulted tracks for, or the vaulted tracks would fit into that, or she had a lot of ideas. Are all the vaulted tracks, like, actually written back then? Or do you think that some of them were written during the re-record? Or what do you think?
I think probably a little bit of both. I mean, I think a lot of them, I bet, were at least nuggets of ideas
Yeah.
back when she was writing it the first time,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm sure that some are written now and said, but they might fit with that period of her life or whatever. But just like you and I have talked about before, where do I think she's a mastermind that plans things years in advance? Yes, I do. Do I also think that she can look at things that she has done in the past and decide what can I pull from that? Right? So it looks like I thought about this 5 years ago, but
Yeah.
I I think that's still just as masterminded, like it's still the same thing. It's just realistically, I don't think that when she came out with her debut album, she knew in 20 years she would XYZ, like so yeah, I think probably a little bit of both. Probably she strikes me as someone just based on what we've seen in interviews over the years, she just has so many journals and so many things in her notes app. So I'm sure she could go look. She could find one sentence that she wrote and during that time and
Yeah.
decide to go with a song.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that I've taken away from the first two episodes of this documentary is what a visionary she is. And obviously we knew that, but like watching her like talk to the band and the dancers and stuff about her vision for like the Eras Tour, she's like, boom, 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 it hits really hard. And then we do, and she's talking about that. And I'm like, oh, she came up with that. Like, I kind of thought, oh, there's a whole team like that came up with how all the songs would go together and what it would do. And I'm sure that there was to some extent, but I think like she leads the vision of all of that. And then they help put the pieces into place. Obviously there's a whole team. Like she was talking about that. And part of another thing I love about the documentary is that it's not about her. It's about the people that made this happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was thinking that when I was watching episode 2, and we see a little bit more about one of the dancers, Amanda, that's also, a choreographer with Mandy Moore. And then Cam,
Yeah.
her dancer Cam, who I love. But
So
these
cute.
deep dives that she gives us into them, like it's not just a quick I'm sure you've never seen it and it's okay, but there was a documentary many years ago called Truth or Dare, and it was Madonna's.
No,
And
I've literally never heard of it.
well, anyone that's my age has, and they've watched it repeatedly. But when we watch Truth or Dare, like her dancers are in the documentary, but they are very much just like accessories.
Yeah.
We don't really get to know them at all, and this is so different. It does feel like, no, I really want you to know their story. I
Yeah.
really want you to know the hard work they've done. I loved that. I think, and she said at one point, when they were talking about one of the choreography around Florida, and she was saying that she is not the kind of person who's worried about one of the dancers pulling focus. She
Right.
wants you to watch and see like a team of experts, and I love that.
Yeah, she said something like she wants you to look at the stage and see a bunch of individual stars.
That's it. Yes.
Yes. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. I think like that's this documentary. There has been a lot of, I don't know about a lot of, but there's been some negative press about Taylor recently about how she's not speaking out about political stuff, about how she's like adjacent to political people that a lot of people don't agree with. We've talked about it a little bit. And also just like the recent like Nazi thing, or am I allowed to say that? But whatever, which I didn't even see anything about. And the reason why I was kind of like side eyeing that article in general was because it's like I missed that commentary and I'm pretty chronically online. So I'm kind of surprised. I don't know. I feel like it's almost like the AE jeans campaign ad that I had to explain to you that one time, because it's like,
Mm.
what? I don't even get what people are talking about. Like, why are people mad? And it's like, I think people made up that people were mad about it so that they could create content about it or something. I don't really know.
I mean, I've definitely seen some of that discourse, especially on Reddit.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
like, okay, Reddit people are crazy.
yes, yes, and it, obviously, I don't see any of that. Like,
Yeah.
I just looking for these like microaggressions and,
Literally people are looking for things to cancel her for. They're trying really
yes,
hard.
yes,
And I try to be objective about it. I'm like, okay, let me look at this like not through a super fan lens, but just through a regular lens. And I'm like, no, I don't think she has to say anything about the political landscape right now. No, I don't think she has to um I mean, I don't even know what else people want her to do. Basically do that. And so because she's not doing that and because she's adjacent to, yeah, I mean, people in the NFL and people in the sports world lean that way a lot of times. And it is what it is. That
Well,
is,
and you and I have talked before about like what is the answer? Like we're not really sure what the answer is, but you know, you and I had a conversation about someone in my life who leans very hard that way. And if I look at their social media, it can make me just disgusted with them and not want to be around them and all these things. And then I told you, when our family was going through a really hard time, that was the family that showed up for us
right.
and was there for us. And so it's like, what am I supposed to do? Just decide based on this one thing. You're awful. I hate you. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. And I think like being online polarizes us. Seeing that kind of content about, like on Reddit, about how she, like Life of a Showgirl, had themes of white supremacy or whatever, I'm like, you guys
Trad
are
white.
really pushing it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I also think, like, I thought the documentary, listening to her talk about the escapism that, the concert gives people. And I think, like,
Yeah.
I realized that part of her choosing to not because she has spoken out about her political beliefs before. She has. It's not as if she's totally silent on that front. But I think not just going hard all the time. I think part of that is her just like, I also want to be a space for joy and to
Yeah.
forget about everything else for a minute and
Right.
remember our other connections.
Right. That's a good point because, yeah, she talks about the Eras tour and how it was like, you and I were like, why was it such a phenomenon? And there's probably not one reason for that. But one of the reasons is because we were in the middle of a pandemic. Like we hadn't gone to live music in a while. We hadn't been together in person in a while. Like this was one of the first times that a lot of us got to go back into in-person settings, and we got to re-experience nostalgia and music that meant a lot to us and the girlhood of it all and the togetherness of it all when we had felt so separated, and scared and distant and all of that kind of stuff, and the political climate was weird, and like it was a moment for us all to remember that we have this thing in common, and everything else fell away, I swear. And all kinds of people were there, and yeah, like it made life feel meaningful and whole again for like a night. And I think that's
Yeah,
the
I mean,
experience she's trying to create.
right. And even, here you have Florence and the Machine talking about the night before she performed with Taylor, she went to the concert and she was talking about how incredible the energy of the crowd was, just how beautiful it was to witness these people feel so connected and just so much love. And I mean, I just think like we were all desperate for that feeling.
Yeah.
Um
And to be
and
joyful.
yeah.
Yes, to
Yeah.
be joyful. And like when we're on the London episodes and the terror attack happens, or the threat of the terror attack, and the little girl's party, devastating. And she is crying, like sobbing on her way, walking to perform. And then we get like these cuts of her being like, for 3 hours, I have to block all of that out because I am here to deliver an experience for people that they have saved up money for, that they got babysitters for, that they traveled for, that they've looked forward to. Um, she always has this, I guess, like core value of her brand of, I'm delivering for my fans. That is my job. My job is not to feel all of the things. My job is not to um yeah, like resonate with everything that's going on in the world. I'm sure she does privately. I'm sure she's going through all kinds of stuff privately. She seems like a very emotional and thoughtful and in tune person. But for those 3 hours and for her public image, like it's to perform. She is a performer. And I think like I've always thought of her, or I guess like recently I've thought more of her life as like performance art. And then in privacy, she does all the other stuff.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and I thought you kind of get that too when Florence says that they relate to each other because their personas are big, right? But who they really are is soft.
Yeah.
And just that, she's like, Taylor is my friend. She's someone that I consider very cozy, and yet when I came up on the stage, I still was like, holy fuck, it's Taylor Swift. Like there's a
Yes.
difference between Taylor the person that she knows and Taylor Swift, right? And so they are two different things. And I do think, yeah, like when she gets on that stage, I mean, first of all, my God, the work ethic. When you think about the fact that this tour was like 2 years long, obviously there were nights where she was probably sick.
Yeah, she said she had the
Um,
stomach flu multiple times.
right. Can you imagine?
I can't
Like
do anything.
I call out of work for the sniffles.
Yeah.
And she's like vomiting in a basket. And like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. I mean, I think it was just incredible to think about that level of dedication.
Yeah.
And that's, what's kind of lovely too is that it's nice, like she is incredibly successful, but it is because of hard work.
Mm-hmm. And a
You know,
vision. I
yeah.
can't, like, people work hard their whole lives but don't have a vision like she does. She has created something. And we were watching the Diddy documentary earlier this week too. Like, talk about somebody else who has a vision but who used all of their power, money, and success for like evil. Versus her, she uses it for joy. She creates an environment for people to live out their dreams. She makes people's like dreams come true. But like, I don't think she would ever take credit for that. I don't think she would say, I made your dreams come true. I think she would say, you made your dream come true. I just gave you the environment to do it.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah.
I also think it's interesting because yes, it is, going to the concert and experiencing that. Like, yes, it is joyful. But I really liked, there was a part of the documentary where I was like, that's it. That is exactly what it is, because she's talking about the joy that people feel. And she's like, yeah, there is some joy, but there's a lot of other feelings that, go on during the show.
Hmm.
And there was a line where she said that the Eras Tour is a place where we get to feel safe to be demonstrative about a whole spectrum of emotions. And I loved that line because I thought that's what it is that, you know, you feel so many different emotions when you're there. You feel grief when you hear uh
All too
Marjorie.
well.
You
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. You feel you remember the heartbreak when you hear
Yeah.
all too well. There's this wide range of emotions that you are allowed to feel very
Yeah.
deeply and loudly. And I think you think about labels that get thrown on women that I know have been weaponized against me, whether it's like I'm overly sensitive, I'm overly dramatic, I'm overly sentimental, and those things are used to criticize me.
Mm,
Whereas at the Eras tour, they are celebrated. Like
mm.
it is good to be overly dramatic and overly sensitive and overly sentimental. Those things are qualities that are not just allowed to be, but celebrated there.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're not sobbing, then you're not feeling it enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's such a beautiful freedom in that to like
Yes.
see other people feeling it just as deeply, and you don't have to feel any shame about it. You don't have to. And then there's so many parts of like girlhood that we're taught we have to they're cute when you're 7, but you need to outgrow, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's like glittery butterflies and pink and pastels and overly done nails. And whereas like there it's like it doesn't matter if you're 60, you can still have all those things and love all those things, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah, the celebration of being a girl
Yeah.
and a thing that we're shamed for from a very young age.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one more thing about Florence that I just really loved was the fact that Taylor gave Florence her own version of like a life-changing experience. Like Florence has performed. Like she is not, it's not like she's never performed for tons and tons and tons of people. She's very famous and she puts on a show and everything. And still, that was a once in a lifetime opportunity for her that Taylor gave her. And that is so cool. And the fact that she was like nervous and you could tell she was nervous underneath the stage, she crushed it once she got out there. But like, um, she was like, no, I can't do the choreography. Like, you've got the wrong girl, kind of a thing. And then she gets up there and she does it because Taylor makes people believe, and the people that she surrounds herself makes you believe that you can do it too, and that you're capable of this. And it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And the same thing, like, when she has Ed Sheeran in the first episode, I noticed with both of them, she wants them to feel how much the crowd is excited to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Like she leans into that so hard, getting them so excited about the possibility that Ed Sheeran was there. And the same
Yeah.
thing, with Florence. And,
That's what I was thinking when I watched like Florence come up and the crowd goes freaking crazy. And I'm like, Florence is going to watch that back and be like, what?
yeah.
That's for me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure
And
Ed Sheeran's more probably used to the fanaticism because he's a man, and so a lot of like girls probably had crushes on him, and like so he maybe is he I think has become or is like very private probably because
yeah.
there's fanaticism around him. But it was so cool watching them practice together, and we'd be like, wait, what was the chord for this? I forgot the like
Yes.
lyric here. Like, teach me this. That was so cute.
It was. It was. And, I think that I'm sure those relationships mean a lot to you because no one like me or you can possibly understand what she is going through, even though she's
Yeah.
will say like nobody feels sorry for me. I know how pathetic it sounds to be like, oh, poor me, like, but at the same time, to hear her talk about kind of feeling like she's being hunted like an animal, and Ed Sheeran saying it feels like people have kind of forgot that you're human.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sure those relationships are really important to you, to just have someone that gets that side of it that the
Yeah.
rest
Like,
of us can't.
the superstardom that she has created for herself because she wanted it comes with very real downsides that must, like, where there's pros there are cons. It's like you've been trying to tell me and like convince me of lately, like there is light where there has to be, what, in the dark there is light, or what have you been trying to, what's the like
You
phrase that I'm looking
can't
for?
have you can't have darkness without light, right? Like they exist because of each other.
Right.
You can't have one without the other. You just
Yeah.
can't. You're never gonna, if you're gonna, there's gonna be low lows because there's high highs.
Right. And I think that that's like, I don't think that she would take back the fame because I think it's part of what she wanted. She, I don't think, would have continued to do the Eras Tour legs if she didn't want to continue to be a superstar. That's what she
Right.
wanted.
Right.
But along with that comes, yeah, that feeling of being hunted. And yeah, I can only imagine how comforting somebody like Ed Sheeran, who she's known since she was young and made music with since she was young, who gets it, would be.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And
I
he
mean, can
seems
you
very
imagine?
grounded.
Yeah, I get that vibe too.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, yes, I'm sure he's used to, girls having crushes or whatever, but I don't think that Ed Sheeran is the same kind of heartthrob, right? As like, I'm trying to think of someone that you
Harry
would
Styles.
know. There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Exact there. Perfect. Perfect.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. Also, I was like looking into him the other day because I was like, where did he go off to anyway? And I didn't know he was married to his high school sweetheart.
Ed Sheeran?
Yeah.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, I noticed he had a wedding ring on, and I was like, oh, I guess I didn't realize he was married. And then I looked it up, and it's his high school sweetheart.
That's lovely.
Yeah,
That's
adorable.
lovely. I was excited to see them perform, but we were talking earlier about how music can take you back to, a moment or a thing. And I was thinking about that because I remember the first time I heard that song, Everything Has Changed. I remember what stoplight I was at when it was on because I had just spent an evening with my now husband and it was very, very early on. And I was driving home and I was at a stoplight and that song came on and it so perfectly captured how I
Oh,
felt that night,
yeah.
like, no, that feels like butterflies and everything is changed.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just kind of magical that music can do. And I think that's true of all sorts of music. It's just incredible that there's so many Taylor Swift songs that can do that to me, that can take me back to a specific thing.
Yeah, I think like if there's, besides having a vision, if there's one other thing that she's just really good at, it's writing music that somehow resonates with like every girl that's ever existed, but also feels so personal to your specific experience. It's just that her music does transport you back to the time in your life when you felt that, or what it reminds you of, because she describes a feeling so well somehow that you're like, oh my God, I've so felt that before.
Yes.
And we were talking earlier about like the psychology of that and why that is. And I don't know, but there is, so with complex PTSD, there's this thing called emotional flashbacks. And it's when, sorry, we're going to get into like trauma for just a second, but it's when somebody's experienced oftentimes like a childhood trauma that they don't necessarily remember all the details of, but then in their adult life, they'll have the feeling will get triggered. So not the exact circumstance doesn't happen, but whatever that they felt in that moment will get triggered again in their adulthood and they will flash back to it. So instead of with PTSD, it's like you have the memory of it, you hear the bang, you hear the gun go off, whatever, the bomb go off, whatever, you remember the thing. But with complex PTSD, it's you remember the feeling and it brings you back to
Okay.
the feeling. And so when you're working through trauma, that's like a thing that you are aware of. You're aware of like the triggers that bring you back to these emotional flashbacks. And I almost wonder if it's a similar thing, but not in a traumatizing way, but in a way of like when we experience really intense emotions, they live inside of us and then they can be triggered at different times, triggered in like just a general sense of the word. Like they can be triggered at different times when we hear it described and it makes us feel that way again. And we're like, oh my God, I remember that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the documentary, when she's doing the bonuses,
Mm-hmm.
and she uses the wax stamp, on each one. And her mom's like, "Did you do this on each one?" Like, in my mind, I'm thinking that is 100% something I would do.
Yes, I
Um,
thought of you.
did you really? You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's psychotic. She would do that too. And so I went to, my good friend ChatGPT, and I wanted to understand um why I'm like what makes people overly sentimental? Like, what is that
Mm.
that makes people like that, like me? And I also think like Taylor, like she strikes me as obviously someone who is very sentimental. And so I was reading that there's a lot of different psychological reasoning behind people that are overly sentimental. Obviously, they tend to be the same kind of people that are highly sensitive and empathetic and all those things. But for them, the object, that whatever it is that they're maybe keeping or giving to someone like that, it equates to an emotion that they are scared of losing and that they never want to lose.
Oh.
And so I just thought of that, like when she's making that, I know, isn't that like, I'm like, yeah, I can see that, like of little things that I've kept or that I've,
Yeah.
given to someone
Yeah.
that it is like, um, and so I thought of that when she was doing the bonuses, you know, that probably part of her, both she wants to remember what this
Mm-hmm.
moment was like, but also knowing what it's going to be to the dancers and the band later, and wanting to make that as special as she can for them.
Yeah, that's really interesting because when you think about the highly sensitive person, the like I think about you and I think about how you experience very low lows and very high highs in your emotional range. Like you have a huge emotional range. Things impact you, both good and bad, and they're not good and bad. I just mean like both happy and sad. Um, I don't want to like say that those emotions are bad, is why I like wanted to rephrase that because they're not bad, they just are.
Yeah.
But for that person, I feel like it's like how dark it can get, and so when it gets light, you want to celebrate it and you want to remember it and you want to feel it and you want to like hang on to it and you want it to mean something. And there's a lot of like meaningfulness with how Taylor does things, and there's a lot of meaningfulness with how you do things, like when you talk about the rituals that you guys have created around the holidays and like just your whole, I feel like you're always looking to find like meaning and to create meaning so that things feel uh palpable, almost, if that's the
Yeah.
right word for it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that totally makes sense.
Yeah. And it's true, like those little things that, because for me they bring back, like when I hang a Christmas ornament that I remember my grandmother hanging when I was 6 years old, it takes me back to that Christmas and her still being here
Yeah.
and what that was. And so creating those with my children it's in the hopes that when they grow up and they're going through those dark times that life is going to hand you, whether you like it or not, that they have these little things that anchor them to going back to a moment when they know they were loved and cared about and felt safe and all those things.
Yeah. I love that.
Oh, I okay, so when I had asked ChatGPT, like, why am I so overly sentimental, like what is wrong with me, essentially, like why am I like this, and then I read its response and all that. That was before I had seen the documentary, before it had come out. This was like, earlier last week that I had wanted to find out.
Oh, okay.
And so then that's kind of what I mean is like, then I watch the documentary and I'm seeing her do the little stamps, right? And thinking about how sentimental she is with certain things. And it makes me again fall in love with her more because that's what it is. It's like, I don't feel as ashamed of qualities that I feel like I'm supposed to feel ashamed of or embarrassed by
Yeah. As a
when
girl.
I'm right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
I mean,
yeah.
again, like, do I have to get on my soapbox about how we all suffer underneath the patriarchy?
Right.
The patriarchy
Right.
of masculine traits are seen as good, they're seen as valuable, they are not looked down upon.
Yeah.
Feminine traits are seen as weak and sensitive and something that you need to fix.
But I mean, interestingly enough, I've had more women weaponize those traits like during fights or
Yeah.
arguments or whatever than I have men.
Well, yeah, because we all suffer under the patriarchy.
Right.
We have all internalized it.
Right. Yeah. But
And
definitely been more
women have
women that it.
been pitted against each other.
Right.
And we've
Right.
also been taught to hate those qualities in ourselves and in other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And almost feel like not you. I promise I'm not referring to you, but I have noticed like women that are not sentimental about like things like that do it feels like look down on me as like, oh, you haven't overcome that thing that I have. I'm not
Right, right.
sentimental. Like, I don't, that's a very immature, girly, like, thing you should have moved on from that I have.
Yeah, totally. And now I get to feel
Yeah.
better than you about it.
Yeah.
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 No, I think
And
it's
now,
a beautiful part of you. I love it. I celebrate it.
well, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. And I like I said, it's like I see it in someone as successful
Yeah.
as Taylor Swift. And I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be a negative.
Yeah.
You can be a billionaire because of it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so should we talk a little bit about the Taylor and Travis of it all? Because when she was in the car driving, like she got out of the London show, we're back, baby, gets in the car, her first call, takes off her shoes. Sorry for my foot. First call is, and I thought it was going to be Joe for whatever reason. I guess I didn't realize the timeline of it all. And I was like, oh my God, this is her talking to Joe.
I
And
gotcha.
then
Okay.
it was Travis. And I was like, oh. And so then I had to look up, okay, when was that show? When did they start dating? And I was, for a second, very confused because it said that that show was in August. And I thought that they had met in August. And I was like, they're very comfy, cozy, but it was a year later.
Okay. Okay. Makes
So
sense.
yeah, at
Makes
that point they
sense.
had been dating or like knew each other a year and kind of because he went on his podcast. He went to the show in July, the show I went to in Kansas City. I don't know if it was the show I went to, but it was a show that same weekend.
It
And
was.
then
It was. It was the show you went to. I was gonna
exactly. And then talked about it on the podcast, I think in early August. And then somebody introduced them and that they said they like sort of started dating in September, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, also the crew bonuses. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that I had seen in the media that she had given out crew bonuses to the truck drivers.
Right. They got 100. The truck drivers got 100,000.
Yeah.
The dancers. It's never been confirmed. We don't have a confirmed number that the dancers got. It seems like we have enough evidence to know that it was between 150,000 to 500,000. There are reports that it was 500,000. But I mean somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And whatever we saw, those dancers, that was one of 4 bonuses that they got because they got a bonus at the end of each leg of the tour. So one in North America, one, yeah.
So maybe the total was 500,000. Each time it
Right.
was 150,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
I got the impression based on a couple like hints and deep dives that I, have went on, that each bonus was 113,000, equaling up to,
Oh yeah, of course. She had to make it like,
400 and
yeah.
yes. Yeah. That sounds very Taylor.
Yeah.
Life-changing.
Oh,
Completely
totally.
life-changing.
I mean, that tour alone was life changing for a lot of those people in different ways. Some of them, it was their last hoorah before having to retire from dancing. And then, like for Cam, it was so cool because he's such a personality. Like I saw him on TikTok once, and I was like, oh my god, he's one of Taylor Swift's dancers. I recognize him from the show.
Yeah.
And because he's such a personality, and it's like it wouldn't be the same without him, and that's so cool. Not realizing that like that was his big break. He wasn't famous before that. He wasn't like he was gonna go do something else before getting that job, and then to see his mom there celebrating alongside, and he kept talking about how it was like the love that she provided for him and his brother who plays for the Chiefs that like made it so that they could do what they did. And it's like, there's a lot of ways that parents can try to encourage their kids to be successful. And love is not often the word that people will use when they describe the way that their parents push them to be the person that they are. And I think Taylor and Cam like both grew up, at least Taylor's mom, I don't know about dad, but and Cam's mom like loved them and believed in them so much. And it wasn't discipline, it wasn't pressure, it wasn't you're meant for great things and I expect you to do great things, which is what I see with the clients in my therapy room a lot, which is my parents wanted me to be great. I'm trying to be great. I feel like a failure in the meantime. What is my life? It doesn't mean anything because I didn't do what I wanted to do. I did what I thought they wanted me to do. And now I feel at this age like, who even am I?
Yeah.
Um, and so to see your kids from a really young age love something and just encourage them to follow that love, not because you have a vested interest in them becoming that, but because they want to, and then
Right.
them both becoming extremely successful in their own right. Like that is so cool.
It is, yeah. And it's interesting too, like getting older. It's, I'm sure if I would have watched this documentary 20 years ago, I would be watching it thinking about like how I need to go after my dreams and how I need, I would relate to that side of it. And now watching it at my age now, um, I really connected to watching Cam's mom dancing and looking at Cam, and I just thought that was so beautiful and powerful because it's like watching her smile and that pure joy because she's watching, I'm gonna cry. She's watching like probably one of the people that she loves most in the entire world find their happiness and what they've wanted and tried for, which is, I'm sure, all that she's dedicated the last 30 years of her life to, is for them to arrive there.
Yeah.
What an experience to get to see it. And I love that Taylor wanted that highlighted in this documentary.
Yeah.
And I saw some criticism online because, I never, you sent me one TikTok and I made the mistake of reading some of the comments. And I'm like, I freaking hate the comments,
Oh, I didn't read the comments.
Oh, God, I don't know why I ever even look. But, anyways, there were some people that were like, oh, well, you only saw what Taylor wanted you to see. This is, she cultivated. And I'm like, yeah, of course. She like that is smart. That is a good businesswoman. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. And also, for me, all that does is highlight even more how much I like her because she spent a significant chunk of episode 2 highlighting other people.
Yeah. And like, not to mention, like, let's bring it back to the Diddy documentary where he didn't highlight anyone unless it benefited him in an obvious way. And he was predatory. The people that he made famous so that they could make him rich and they remained poor. that is not the same thing. And I think like when people are commenting that, it implies that it's disingenuous and that she is trying to trick everyone into thinking that she's a good person when she's not. And I think the evidence that we have to support her being a good person is all of the people that privately have remained loyal to her, love her, stick by her side through everything. Because people don't stay, like, you don't just stay for the money, even if the money is good. If the environment is toxic, there would be reports about the way that she treats people behind the scenes. People would talk about it. There would be smoke. Like we would know. And there's none of that. And so it's like, sorry, Benny was crying. Um, so I think that like we have a lot of evidence to support that she is a good person, a friend that people turn to, somebody who is soft and gooey and sensitive and kind and probably a bit much.
Yeah.
But if that's the biggest criticism that you've got of her, then I don't give a shit.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, you look at like her bandmates, and a lot of them have been with her since 2007 or before. We're talking, 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that amount of loyalty. And I agree. Like when we saw her on Colbert, she talked about like her friends and how the people in her life she can share things with and it never gets leaked to
Yes.
the press, and I think that that's probably very true. I think yeah, I mean, you don't stay with someone that long. And that is also true of her fans. Like you think about 2017, 2019, when she was still doing the listening parties and those were all the fans were handpicked by Taylor Swift. She would go on to social media and find these people, and then send it to management. And then, so the last listening party, I think there was like 113 fans invited, and they all got to listen to Lover with her in her house where she had baked
Mm-hmm.
cookies and all this stuff. Not one of them, not one of them spoke about the album because it was a secret listening party in advance. They all kept it secret.
Yeah. And she talked about how hard it is to keep a secret, how much effort it takes, but how rewarding it is. And I bet she told her fans that too. And I bet like that's an ethos that she shares. And yeah, and actually, like, just sorry that this is my like hyper obsession, but I'm just thinking about too about the reasons why I don't think that Blake and Taylor are friends anymore. And also, I think that Blake weaponized Taylor in her friendship with her and
Mm-hmm.
used that as like a power move with other people, and that must have rubbed her really the wrong way.
Yeah, I do agree. I think I've said before, I don't think the friendship ended because she called Taylor Swift her dragon. I don't think that's why it ended. But I think having her power um used as a weapon against someone like that, when that is something that I think she's always tried to be careful that she doesn't do and doesn't like done to her,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, really rubbed her the wrong way.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like you got to go. I have to have people in my circle that I can trust 100 and
Yes.
million percent.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, and when she said that in the Colbert interview, I'm like, that girl doesn't say anything without it being purposeful. And I wonder if that was meant to be like an indication that, yeah, you guys have seen what's come out with the Blake Lively thing. Like, if she was in my circle still, you would not have heard a peep from her about me because the people
Yeah.
I keep in my circle do not say anything.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I did see, probably not true, but we'll just never know. Taylor has definitely throughout the last 10 years used fashion and jewelry as Easter eggs. Like we've seen it happen enough times now that the fans are very clued into like what she's wearing and what she's doing and all of that. I don't know that anybody thinks it's an Easter egg or a clue, but we will say that when she went on Colbert, when you look at pictures of her standing up in that dress,
Yeah, I loved
the
the
dress
dress.
very much makes the silhouette of the era stage. Like if you're
I
envisioning
see.
what the stage looks from an aerial view.
Okay. Yeah, I loved that dress. I love that she feels like she wants to be a ghost. If somebody saw her in the window and she looked like she was a ghost haunting a house,
Yeah.
that's hilarious and like
Oh, her
so funny.
nightgown. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Like, what are your pajamas like? And yeah, I
Um,
love that.
there was this part in that interview where I thought this is so funny for some reason. There's this part of the interview where Stephen Colbert brings up Travis, and he's like, "Congratulations, by the way." And she just like looks at him with this blank stare, like, "What is he talking about?" And he's like, "On your engagement." And she's like, "Oh, thank you, thank you."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, remember the engagement that you
Right,
just
right.
had.
Yeah. And I liked the little where he told her about like the best wishes
Oh
versus
yeah,
congratulations, and she's like, "Oh, I never knew that." Like um and on the documentary, her and Travis together, I know we were talking about that a little bit. So, obviously I know Taylor is listening and I want her to know that I do think that she's funny. I'm sure all the time. But like them on the phone, like I didn't necessarily find either of their jokes as funny as they did, but I absolutely loved how much they both thought each other was really, really funny.
yeah. I had the exact same thought. I was like,
Oh,
neither
good.
of those people are funny right now. This is so I love that they think each other is funny. I mean, that is love. Is I'm laughing at your dumb joke like genuinely.
Yeah, it wasn't a fake laugh.
No, it was
Like
a real laugh. They were
it
both
was
really chuckling.
yes. And I was
I
like,
was like, I don't get what's funny, but okay.
my brain immediately went to the line in All Too Well when she's like, I've never, and I was never good at telling jokes, but the punchline is, that's what I thought of. Was I was like, she's right. She's not necessarily
No, she's
super
not
good with the
funny.
jokes, but
Yeah.
she found someone who thinks she's hilarious.
Yeah, he gets her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love them together.
I do too. I love them together. They're so adorable. And
What are you, if anything, looking forward to or hoping to see in the next few episodes? We have 4 more episodes coming, 2 next Friday and 2 December 26th to wrap up. So what, if anything, are you looking forward to or hoping to see?
I kind of like I hope that there's not a ton of her and Travis stuff. Like I want just like little things, but I don't want to be like oversaturated with stuff with them. I hope that there's behind the scenes of writing tortured poets. Um I hope that we get more of that. Cuz yeah, that was such a I can't believe that she wrote that during that like during the tour and stuff and like what was going on for her with that little douchebag emo dude um from the 1975.
I don't think that we're going to get a lot with him because she's with Travis now. I don't know how much
Yeah.
she'll really get into, what happened and all of that. I am
Yeah, I'm sure we won't
curious
get a
if
ton
we'll
of Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I am curious if like she'll at least touch on the writing process during that time,
Yeah.
we really didn't get a lot of her and Joe's relationship on Tortured Poets. We got very little.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like that's because she still had respect for whatever they had
Yeah.
and who they were. Whereas with the other
Yeah.
guys, she was like, fuck you out loud everywhere. Oh, the only other thing, did you watch at any of the new concert film?
Oh, is that new?
Yeah, because the one that dropped originally did not have the Tortured Poet section because that wasn't out yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to watch the whole thing because I've already seen it in theaters and everything, but I'll probably watch the Tortured Poets part since I never got to see that part.
Yeah.
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 So I'll report back next time we do this. The next
That's perfect.
episodes drop
Next Friday, the 19th.
okay.
We have
So
2
we'll
more
record
episodes
next
coming on the
weekend.
19th. Yep. Yep.
Yep. So we'll record next weekend and then we'll drop a new episode probably on Sunday.
Yes.
All right. We also have tons of pop culture stuff to catch up on, but we'll have to get to that after our Taylor Swift binge ends.
That sounds good. And we're all about reality TV and pop culture and all those things. But if you're listening and have any theories about what's going to happen on the final of Stranger Things, tell me. 'Cause I've got so many theories just floating around.
Okay. And yeah, I want to watch that. Maybe we'll watch it over Christmas. Zach and I will. So another thing about speaking of theories that I just want to touch on really quick is I have a theory. There's allegedly a spinoff happening for Mormon Wives.
Yep.
Demi has announced her departure from Mormon Wives. So Demi is the one that accused Marciano, all that stuff. Sheena went on her podcast recently and like teased the fact that like she had that like she was going to become a housewife for the OC or something like that, but like she's also kind of denied that, so people have been wondering, is she going to be on something else, like what's going on? And then I read through Dumois that the spinoff is going to be Mormon Wives OC spinoff, and I'm wondering if, because Demi and Sheena know each other because Sheena knows fucking everybody. She also knows Marciano. I'm wondering if the spinoff is going to be a bunch of influencers and include Sheena.
I could see that.
Yeah. Oh, Aspen Ovard has also allegedly been interviewed for it. She's a TikToker who she's really good at stirring up drama and speculation about her marriage. She's an ex-Mormon, or I think ex-Mormon. Another gal, JC Marie, is an ex-Mormon. She was interviewed for it and apparently turned it down. So I think they're trying to put together like a group of influencers type people to do another like show like that. And so, yeah, I'm wondering if Sheena will be on it. What I couldn't find is who's going to be producing that show, because if it's like Alex Baskin produced VPR and he's the one that she did the podcast with and like acted like he was producing the show she was going to be on. But it doesn't seem like he's producing the spinoff unless something hasn't come out yet. So
who's the other one that does a lot of, is it Mark Burnett?
I don't know anybody else's
that
name,
does a lot of the other ones. It's the same one that does like Survivor, The Bachelorette, the Challenge. Like that's the same guy, I think, that does all of those as well.
Oh, I don't know. But speaking of The Bachelorette, are we going to watch Taylor Frankie Paul season?
You know what? Let's see. I'm going to try to get through the Mormon Wives.
Okay.
We have Traitors coming in a month. Less than a month now. Less than a month. Yeah. So we have that.
Okay, we'll definitely be recapping that, guys. That we have been waiting for.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, let me see how I do with more. What I was thinking is I would love a reality show that was about influencers, but not the ones that I think you want to see. Like I want to see one with like her name is Kat something.
Stickler.
She's funny. What is it?
Stickler.
Okay, her
dark hair
and
allegedly dating John Mayer.
That's it. Yep, her, the one that is married to the guy John, and they just had a baby after having a loss.
Oh, yep.
That, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Catherine?
I don't know. But yes, like those kinds of influencers that are funny and, you know, like obviously attractive or whatnot. But I want a behind the scenes of like their lives, how this happened, how they became influencers, like what it actually looks like for them filming. And I just see that being more like authentic. And I don't want to see influencers like Sheena Shea or I just feel like it's going to be so manufactured and fake. And with the other ones, I feel like there could be some authenticity to it that I would enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's two different genres, right? Because you think of like if you're talking about Real Housewives, we're talking about a different. That's the kind of world that Sheena would fit more into. If we're
Right.
talking about like authenticity, yeah, totally. Cat Stickler. There's a lot of influencers that are very authentic, where you're not getting a personality, you're not getting a persona necessarily.
Yeah.
And so I could totally see how that would be interesting and cool. I don't know
Yeah.
if I think one of the flaws with that would be, are they all friends already? Do they all, those two are friends. Kat Stickler and that girl are friends. So maybe that could be really good. Maybe that would be a thing.
Well,
I don't know. I don't think they live in
right
the same
when
city, but
well, I'm sure like the criticism that probably Alex Baskin or whatever would give is that they might not just be inherently drama,
mm,
right? Like I don't know that they have lives that, it's like with the Vanderpump and all the scandals and the alcoholism and there's all this stuff
hmm
that you can work off of that we want to watch. What if those people are just like kind of nice, good people that are funny and have a following? Like,
yeah.
anybody gonna
Or
watch
what
that
if
show?
they're not nice people and you end up seeing a side of them that like ruins their reputation and like bombs their influencing career?
Yeah, that's true. That I'm just so curious about like how it happens and if you regret it and
Yeah.
you know are you making enough because I've read stories about people that are like internet famous and broke. People
Yeah.
assume that they're rich and whatnot, and it turns out they're not.
Yeah.
And then like, I mean, God, can you imagine being like really famous, but there's no reward?
Yeah.
Because I would hate to be famous. That sounds absolutely horrible to me. It's only worth it if I never have to worry about money again.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think they have to be smart with their money, but also there's an amount of lifestyle creep that happens when you're an influencer because there's an expectation of a specific aspirational lifestyle a lot of the times. And so when you have to like go into debt a lot of times to get that lifestyle so that you can then become rich.
I don't like
Yeah.
that.
The one thing I
Mm-mm.
don't love about Kat Stickler is that she puts her kiddo on her TikTok, and I just think that's a huge mistake.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to take a while for all of us to figure out what that should look like and what we
Yeah.
should do. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have now taken down almost all of my socials that included pictures of my kids when they were, and a lot of it at the time was really funny and really cute. But as they've gotten older, I've definitely had one of them be very clear with me. Like, if I take a picture, this is not for your social media,
Yeah.
or he has seen things that I've posted, like videos of him when he's 5 being adorable to me he finds embarrassing and like
Yeah.
I don't want that out there, and it just I just say that to say like my intentions were not that. I wasn't even
Yeah.
thinking about that at the time.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I think about how, like, on Mormon Wives, we see almost none of their kids.
Yeah.
They all have kids,
Yeah.
but they have purposely protected their privacy, not put them online. And I think, like, they know, like, they are part of that culture and they, like, the influencer culture and stuff, and they know better. And they
Yeah.
specifically did not use their kids for content, which would be easy to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, I respect that a lot. I really like when influencers like keep that private when you're like, oh my God, they have kids. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of that. I mean, I usually laugh at any of the times that she's pretending to be her mother.
Oh, I know, they're so
Um
funny.
they're so funny.
She's really
So,
funny. She's really creative.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
like that she also that's it. I would never see Sheena do what Kat does that I like, where it's like she sometimes will post a picture of her like looking super hot, right? And then like she'll show a video of how she slipped and fell right after that. And
Right.
like, so I really like that realness of like I can admit that yeah, I look so sultry. And also I ate shit 2 seconds later. Like
Totally. Like, it's not every picture is with my good side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is what's going on for us, guys. We will be back next Sunday with our next episode of Overanalyzing Everything.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Overanalyzing Everything. We put so much love and effort into this podcast, and it would mean the world to us if you could follow us and leave a review on the podcast platform that you listen to, like Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You could subscribe on YouTube and leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think we should talk about next. And you could even, and most importantly, buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/overanalyzing everything. We love you. We'll see you next time.